Debris, trash, and snow are piling up at national parks across the country, as those who get paid to maintain them stay home. To fill that void, volunteers from all walks of life have stepped up to fill their shoes. However, despite the shutdown, government bureaucracy continues, as those willing to work are finding out. Activist Post reports a group of libertarians in Tennessee have been volunteering at national parks to do the work, but have now been told to end those efforts. As the volunteers with the Libertarian Party of Tennessee Delta region began cleaning up Shiloh National Military Park last weekend, they were quickly approached by park rangers who demanded they leave the property. According to the representative from the Libertarian Party, the volunteers were told to cease their work and leave immediately during an interaction captured on video.
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is there's forms that have to be filled out to cover y'all, to cover us.
We're not going to sue if that's an issue.
After arguing with the ranger, the group eventually saw what Activist Post calls the futile nature of the situation, and they left. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And Liberty Beat listeners, right now, a special offer just for you. Use promo code SNLS at checkout to receive 10% off your purchase. This is the Liberty Beat for Thursday, January 17th, 2019. Find us online at snls.news. The news now continues. Marzieh Hashemi, an American citizen and journalist who has been living and working in Iran, has been detained without charge or justification by the U.S. government since Sunday, when she arrived at Lambert International Airport in St. Louis to visit her sick brother. Midpress News is reporting that Hashemi, an African-American born in New Orleans, who later converted to Islam, currently works as a journalist for the Iranian English-language news network Press TV. She has since been transferred to a detention facility in Washington at the request of the FBI. That's according to reports from Press TV and the Associated Press. U.S. officials have yet to provide any justification for Hashemi's detention. Once Hashemi was allowed to speak to her family in the United States, she detailed a slew of abuses she had suffered during her detention, which were clear violations of her religious rights. The World Health Organization has listed vaccine hesitancy, the delay in acceptance or refusal of vaccines despite their availability, as one of its top 10 health threats facing the world in 2019. Newsweek reports that data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows that while coverage of most recommended vaccines remained relatively stable and high in 2017 for American children aged 19 to 35 months, the percentage who have received no vaccinations has quadrupled since 2001. According to a recent published study, increasing numbers of people in many U.S. states now hold anti-vaccination views. Other countries with notable anti-vax movements include Australia, where around 40,000 children are unvaccinated because of the objections of their parents, and Italy, which introduced new rules in 2018, suspending the mandatory vaccinations that were required for children to be admitted to school. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. It's simple. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at snls.news. And coming soon to the SNLS network is The Bones of Anarchy, a podcast produced by activist Tony Bones. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat on this Thursday, January 17th, 2019, reminding you to spread liberty with a smile.
Citing their effortless physical strength, affability, and notable base tans, reports from the country's pools, lakes, and beaches have indicated that once again, the nation's Blakes coasted effortlessly through this year's seasonal lifeguard tryouts. Onion reporters spoke with Cincinnati Centennial Pool's manager, Charles Walker, about the exceptional performance of his Blakes.
We always see strong performances from Blakes, but this year's crop did especially well. Blake D did the 25-yard underwater swim in 86 seconds. Blake S and Blake C both carried subjects 40 yards without breaking a sweat.
In addition to qualifying as pool managers and certified aquatics instructors, the nation's Blakes significantly outshined the nation's stewards in swimming, performing CPR, diving, and glistening.
I'm definitely looking forward to being a lifeguard this summer. I heard the test was kind of hard, but it was actually kind of easy.
Our Kaylas are looking pretty strong, too. As long as we have a few Blakes and Kaylas out there on the weekends, we'll be set.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We'll give you the toll-free call-in lines here momentarily, where you can call in and talk live with us. Because, like, if you are dead and you're talking, then that's kind of strange. And if you're just silent and alive, that's not good radio.
Well, Dead and Alive, I mean, that's more Games of Thrones, and we'll be talking about
Bon Jovi. Well, wanted, Dead and Alive.
Yeah. But I mean, Game of Thrones is coming back, Darryl, and I know you occasionally watch that.
Yes.
Yeah, I occasionally read the books again and again
waiting on the next book to come out.
Yeah,
for the last 15 years.
Something like that. But who's counting? George R.R. Martin must be a very busy
guy.
Development. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so there is that. And I was just thinking of Jon Snow, so.
Yeah, he knows nothing.
For the watch. And
apparently, there are some federal employees that I don't know. Maybe they know something. You've got a story we're not going to get into right now, but we will get into about some federal scientists that they probably know some science-y stuff.
You probably do.
One would hope. But there was a court ruling a couple of days ago from a federal judge. Story here from MSN.com. Federal judge on Tuesday ruled that government employees who have been deemed essential can't refuse to work without pay during the partial government shutdown.
God forbid.
U.S. District Judge Richard Leon denied a temporary restraining order that would have either forced the government to pay workers or allowed them the option to refuse to work while not receiving pay. Leon ruled that such an order would incite chaos and was against the public interest, since it's unclear how many workers would choose to still go to work without pay and how many would opt to stay home. He also said it could put the public, or rather put the safety of the public, in jeopardy.
So, this to me seems a little bit unusual. Like it's going to cause chaos if some people go to work and some people don't?
Right. Well, see, the thing is, Chris, we need to know how many people are actually going to come to work and how many people aren't going to come to work.
Yeah.
So it could wind up leading to staffing problems.
Other than everybody not being there.
The TSA, well, nobody can wind up going through the security checkpoint at the airport if there's no TSA agents. And, well, sorry, Delta, you're just going to have to cancel all of your flights out of Atlanta.
Yeah, it's a weird situation. And I'm really tired of people acting like this is, oh, my God, Trump shut down the government, and it's shut
down.
For
the third time during his presidency, by the way.
Yeah. I went through 5 government shutdowns during my time in the military.
During the Clinton administration.
Reagan.
Okay.
Reagan. 5 different shutdowns. I had pay interrupted a few times, and it was an inconvenience. It certainly was.
Right.
But
I don't think anybody's saying that it's not an inconvenience.
Right. But it was also, I knew I would get paid eventually.
Yes.
And these people will get paid eventually. And it's not the end of the world. I mean, this has impacted my life in no measurable way. I'm sure there is the likelihood. Well, I know that a bunch of web servers are all going to start failing because they haven't updated their SSL certificates. That's a big list of government stuff because, God forbid, nobody could go in and upload a new certificate.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen. I really don't.
And there was a website that I went to a few days ago. I forget which federal government website, but they had a big, huge notice at the top saying, government shutdown, website might not be fully operational.
Right. And
which means that they had to pay somebody to go in to change the website to add this disclaimer on the website.
That they do, and it's usually scare tactics. It's, you know.
Oh, did you see the video out of Tennessee?
No.
I believe it was Shiloh National Park.
I've been shipping T-shirts. That's all I've been doing.
Well,
so
there's
I've not seen this.
Couple-minute long video where Libertarian Party of Tennessee
I heard about this.
had a park cleanup, and when they got to the park, there was a friendly park ranger that basically told them, park's closed, you can enjoy it, but you're not allowed to pick anything up. We know that you came here to clean this park. You are not allowed to clean this park.
Dang volunteers. I hate that.
Yeah.
What are they thinking?
And then there was somewhere down in Massachusetts where another group of libertarians went, and they were told, yeah, you're probably not going to find any trash. There have been volunteers here every day, all week.
Yeah, the only thing I did during a recent shutdown was I went and opened a park. Gettysburg National Monument was closed down this was Obama.
All right.
Yep. So they, told all the park rangers, you can't go to work and the park's closed, folks. The moose out front should have told you.
I think that every time I hear about a park closed.
I do too. But my girlfriend and I went down there and we drove around and we moved barricades. And suddenly the park wasn't closed. There were people driving through it and enjoying the sights and reading about the history and all that. Just like that. All it took was
Which
moving.
Is what generally happens in Gettysburg because the park is all over the city.
Right. And it's a drivable park. You kind of drive from one battlefield to another, but it was just a simple matter of, let me see, stop the car, move a very light barricade 4 feet to the right.
Some type of metal, I'm guessing?
Wood, usually, just like a sawhorse. I mean, a lot of them were sawhorses, and sometimes they went all out and used traffic cones. Okay. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I didn't think that they would have the concrete jersey barriers out there, but I figured they'd at least get, like the metal stuff that you'd see around the rings of boxing matches.
It's too big a park. Too many roads. So it was just fun. And then we'd be driving along and we'd see a park ranger with his lights on flying along to go, put these cones back up for public safety. And we'd be moving cones somewhere else. They finally caught us. And he asked me for my license, which I refused. I said, you're not legally allowed to work. So I'm not obligated in any way to give you proof of license or anything. I'm in a federal park. What are you? You're supposed to not be working today. And I can't remember the act that says that they can't do it.
Right.
But I quoted that to him, and he harassed me until I started filming him. And once I started filming him, then he kind of shut the hell up. So just said, be careful and don't move any barricades. I'm like, I promise I won't.
Okay.
Sure.
And so then you asked the girlfriend to move the barricade because he didn't tell her not to. Let's continue with the story here and your calls and thoughts. Welcome 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. The ruling in this particular case, again from U.S. District Judge Richard Leon, came after the judge consolidated 3 cases making similar claims on the grounds that the government was violating the Constitution in forcing employees to work without pay. The 3 lawsuits came from the National Treasury Employees Union, the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, and a group of 5 federal workers. The plaintiffs in the case, or rather the cases, argued that being forced to work without pay was a violation of the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery.
Oh, please.
They also asked that the judge prevent them from being retaliated against for not showing up to work and asked them to allow workers the ability to find other means of income while they're not being paid. The National Treasury Employees Union also argued that by promising workers back pay, the Trump administration was violating the Appropriations Clause since they're promising to spend funds that have yet to be appropriated.
You can promise all you want. You can promise anything you want. But
that's how the federal government's currently $21 trillion in debt. They've been promising.
Exactly.
Since 1837, we promise we're going to pay you. Just let us borrow a little bit more.
Any day now.
Please, sir, May I have some more? Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, we've got the Discord on-air call-in lines over at discord.lrn.fm. Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash is building a foundation that can support daily transactions for people everywhere. One feature that sets Smart Cash apart is the Smart Hive governance model and how the community can vote to fund the best projects with block rewards stored in the Smart Hive project treasury. Unlike other cryptocurrencies with voting systems, Smart Cash allows everyone to participate. One smart equals one vote. Learn more at smartcash.cc.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global. Drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. That's AnyPay.global. There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.fm in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.fm. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, we've got the Discord on-air call-in line available. Actually, there are 4 call-in lines available on the Discord, available over at discord.lrn.fm. And want to make sure that you're aware, if you're in Miami or in South Florida, you don't have a lot of time to get to Miami if you want to go to the North American Bitcoin Conference because, well, Mark Edge from Free Talk Live is going to be there, and I believe he's going to be hanging out with the Bitcoin.com team over at their booth. Mark wants you to stop by, say hi, laugh and point because he will be wearing his king outfit and he has green hair. Bitcoin.com will have a pop-up store and they're going to be selling stuff for Bitcoin Cash and also helping people get wallets. If you're not there, you can go to wallet.bitcoin.com, download the wallet, and they also are, I believe, based on the wording Mark has here, I think they're also going to be giving people some free Bitcoin Cash, BCH. And again, if you're not in Miami, you can use the faucet over at free.bitcoin.com. So again, the North American Bitcoin Conference happening through tomorrow, January 18th. So go and see Mark. And if you're not there and you can't make it, head over to bitcoin.com for a lot of news, stuff about Bitcoin, and again, info on how to set up wallets, how to get some Bitcoin, how to spend your Bitcoin, bitcoin.com. So jumping back into the article here from MSN, again about the court ruling on Tuesday where U.S. District Judge Richard Leon combined three cases, consolidated is the word they use here, where there were some federal employees saying, hey, you're making us work and we're not getting paid. That's a violation of some rules and stuff, and we should just be able to not show up to work, and you can't hold us, you can't hold it against us that we're not coming in. And the judge said, no. If you're deemed an essential federal employee and you're told that you've got to go to work, then you go to work. Article here says the judge sympathized with the plaintiffs, but ultimately said he had to weigh the interest of the public as well as federal workers. He added that the judiciary branch is dealing with its own hardships as a result of the shutdown, but said he did not want the courts to be a factor in the ongoing debate about funding the government. He said the judiciary is not another source of leverage. The American Federation of Government Employees was the first to file a lawsuit against the federal government over the partial shutdown on December 31st, 10 days after the shutdown started, by the way. The lawsuit is based on the Fair Labor Standards Act that entitles federal workers to double pay if they are not compensated on time.
I'm sorry.
You heard that correctly.
I'm sorry. I did hear that, right?
Federal workers are entitled to double pay if they are not compensated on time. So all of these workers that are currently working without pay, once the paycheck comes, It's not just going to be back pay, it's going to be double back pay.
Well, why haven't I heard that, Darryl? It seems like that's pretty big news that basically they're going to get time off and a bonus.
Well, this is talking specifically about the essential employees that are working.
I get it. But yeah, they're going to be working. I just, and not to tell another shutdown story, but I used to work in D.C. and I used to do contracting work down there, and I've told this story before. I walk into the Department of Energy, which is where I was doing my gig, and it's in the middle of a shutdown during Clinton, and guess what? There's as many people in the hallways as there ever are. There's as many people behind keyboards clicking away on their computers. It's any other day. And it's driving me nuts because I had to find a parking space, and that wasn't easy in D.C.
Right.
During a government shutdown. And I asked my contacts there, I said, what's going on? I thought it was essential personnel only. It's like, yeah, well, the rest of us are just here to describe why we're essential. We're here to justify why we're essential and why we have to be at work.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the kind of insanity that goes on. So, You know, I've worked for the federal government. I've got my paychecks from Uncle Sam, and this is why I don't respect them. I just have no respect for this system that is just set to screw the American people, regardless of who shuts it down, whether it's running or it's shut down. At least when it's shut down, there's a little less evil going on. It's a little less stupidity going on, maybe a hair, a fraction. I'm going to give that thought the benefit of the doubt.
Well, I guess if you have the water faucet turned on full blast and then you dial it back to where there's, like 3 fewer water droplets coming out per second, yeah, there's less water coming out of the faucet.
Sure.
It's not a significant amount.
I'm going to go with that. But that's the thing. And people assume that, oh, my God, nothing's going on in Washington. The horror, the humanity. It's not the case, folks. There's tons of people working, tons of people doing the job. And the only ones you happen to hear about are the few that make a lot of noise about it, or they're highly visible.
Right. To try to show you how horrible this is.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad you have us here? And then there was a headline earlier today, not to, make this a New Hampshire specific thing, but there was headline today, New Hampshire last fiscal year gave $413 billion more to the federal government than they received.
Yeah.
Or 400, I forget if it was million or billion, but, some huge amount of money.
We're a giver
that
state.
Left the state.
Yeah.
And went to probably million. Million sounds
more realistic given the small population of our state. Yeah. But, you look at stuff like, the Department of Education, and we all know how many children the Department of Education educates. That's a vital
zero.
It's a vital. No, it's not vital. You could completely erase an entire cabinet department.
Right.
And it just wouldn't matter.
Right.
That states would continue to educate children.
One thing that's interesting is that in 1980, the Republican Party had as part of their platform the abolishment of the Federal Department of Education.
Okay.
And now it's considered taboo for libertarians to even advocate for the abolishment of the Federal Department of Education.
All this thing does is eat up $5 billion a year in budget so that people in Washington can put together reports. I mean, that's the only meaningful thing.
Oh, and they also recommend what to feed kids in school.
They do.
And they determined that pizza is a vegetable.
Tomatoes were the vegetable. That was back to the Bush 1 years, I think.
Right, but because there's tomato sauce on pizza,
you can just call the whole thing a vegetable?
Is a vegetable.
Sweet. And there is your diet tip, too. If you want to lose weight, eat lots of vegetables, preferably pepperoni.
Pepperoni, not a vegetable. But you put it on pizza and
it's a vegetable. I like it.
It's magic. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
You may need this herbal tea for relief right away, so write this down. DRMILLERS clinic.com. If you take meds, then suffer stomach distress, constipation, indigestion, acid reflux, and bloating, and nothing else helps, get Dr. Miller's Holy Tea or Super Holy Tea, a cleansing, detoxifying herbal tea now available at great rates direct from Dr. Miller's office. Call or click 888-660-7039 or DRMILLERS clinic.com.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars, and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And Chris, we just wound up talking about a court ruling, and I didn't catch what district this ruling was from, but there was a court ruling earlier in the week where a federal judge said that essential federal government employees have to go to work if they are told go to work. And of course they were upset, arguing that, well, it's a violation of the 13th Amendment and it's a violation of some apportionment clause or the appropriations clause.
Right.
Because they're essentially, the federal government is essentially promising to spend funds that have yet to be appropriated, and they can't do that because reasons. But Chris, as you pointed out, they've been doing that for a long time. That's how they're $21 trillion in debt. But on a related note about some, I'm not sure if these are essential or non-essential federal employees, you've got a story about some government science people.
Well, scientists, Darryl.
What kind of science?
Government science people. What kind of science? I mean, the government employs all kinds of scientists. And we know how critical these people are, right?
Well, some of them are rock scientists. We call them geologists. Some of them are rocket scientists. We call them NASA engineers. There's probably a food scientist or three that work for the FDA.
Or three.
There might be 12. I'm not really sure. As slow as they work on actually approving new drugs, there might only be one. Or it could be three short people in a lab coat. I'm not really sure. I've never been to the FDA. But
this article...
there are some scientists.
There are scientists, and... excuse me. This article comes to us from Wired, and the author of this article, who is Eric Niler, says the shutdown shows us just how vital government scientists are.
All right.
So we're going to learn, Darryl, about the vital work that may not be getting done because of this government shutdown.
All right.
Instead of figuring out how many Pacific hockey fishermen can catch sustainably, as his job demands, scientist Ian Taylor is at home with his 4-month-old daughter, biding his time through the partial government shutdown. Taylor's task is to assess the size and age of hockey, H-A-K-E, and other commercially harvested fish species in the productive grounds from Baja California to the Gulf of Alaska. These stock assessments are then used by the federal managers to approve permits for West Coast fishing boats. Without Taylor's scientific report, the season could be delayed, and the impact of the shutdown could spread beyond the 800,000 government employees now on furlough, to include boat captains, deckhands, and others working in the seafood industry who won't be able to head to sea on schedule. That's what's happened to Alaskan crabbers during the last big federal shutdown in 2013.
All right, so there's at least one factual error here where they mention 800,000 federal government employees that have been furloughed.
Right.
No. 400,000 have been furloughed.
Right.
400,000 have been told, you're essential, you work without pay until we give you back pay plus a bonus of additional double back pay.
Yeah. So I guess, and I brought this story in kind of tongue-in-cheek, Darryl. I was surprised by the headline, first of all, because I happen to be of the belief that there are a whole lot of people employed by the federal government who would be better off, and we, as taxpayers, would be better off if they were not employed by the federal government.
Right. Now, you're not saying, or maybe you are, that there should not be a scientist determining how many people can catch, or how many Pacific hockey, which is a fish that I'd never heard of.
Well, Darryl, this is this guy's whole life.
Right.
And you've never even heard of it.
Right. There are lots of things I've never heard of.
Right.
I couldn't tell you what they are because I've never heard of them. But you're not saying that, like, this isn't something that maybe these Alaskan crab fishermen might want to hire somebody to calculate for them.
They might. That's interesting. I wonder if you could get together some sort of a, industry association that would go out and survey fish species to determine whether they're overfishing, because it's not in the fisherman's best interest to overfish.
Right.
It is in the short term, and that would be very short-sighted because all of a sudden they would find themselves without fish, period. So this is one of those sort of tragedy of the commons things.
It is. And there's also sort of the unseen to fish quotas where it actually winds up leading to overfishing.
Yes.
Because it doesn't matter how many fish that are below size that you pull in from the nets when you're 30 miles out in the ocean.
Right.
There's somebody when you get to shore that is going to check the stuff.
Right.
So you've got all that time to go through and then measure, and because, hey, we've got fish to catch, you're just worried about pulling in all the nets and crab buckets and whatever.
Right.
And then check it over later and, oh, well, we've got a bunch of dead fish here.
So this story portrays this poor gentleman, Dr. Taylor, as one of those guys who's working very hard to make sure that they're, that the hockey fish, H-A-K-E, is being harvested responsibly. And in his mind,
it doesn't say that he's a doctor; says he's a scientist.
Okay, that's a good point.
You just gave him a promotion to doctor.
Well, no, I'm going to assume he's got a PhD in something, but I'm probably wrong.
Generally, that's thrown into every article where somebody has a PhD.
That's a good point. He's probably got an associate's degree, or he just scored well on some government test.
His cousin was the guy hiring fish scientists.
Right. But here we have a guy. So what do you think a fish scientist makes? I mean, I don't have this answer off the top of my head.
A bunch of money.
I'll wager he does. I'll wager with benefits, he pulls home a pretty nice paycheck. He's got top-of-the-line benefits, and his job is to make sure that the hockey fish isn't overfished. Taylor, an operational research analyst, okay, so he's got an associate's degree, at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association's Northwest Fisheries Science Center, says he's frustrated that he can't do his job. He can't even make phone calls or use email. Quote, "It feels like a terrible situation," he said. "Important work is not getting done," unquote.
Now, I just had to laugh at that sentence. He can't make a phone call or use email. I was thinking he should ask his 12-year-old because, everybody asks their 12-year-old for computer help.
Right, there you go. President Trump says he will not sign legislation to operate large chunks of the federal government unless Democrats agree to approve more than $5.7 billion for a wall along the Mexican border. Trump said Monday he plans to visit the border Thursday, hinting that any compromise will likely not happen before then. Some federal science agencies are open, such as the National Institute for Health and the Department of Energy. See what I was talking about, the Department of Energy?
Yep.
They were successful because they're all working. Some federal agencies, including the Department of Energy, since their appropriation bills were already signed by Trump. Others, such as NASA, are continuing to operate key programs, such as the International Space Station, although 95% of its 15,000 workers were sent home on December 22nd. The shutdown has led to a hodgepodge of federal science-based activity across the country. A SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket is sitting on a launch pad at Cape Canaveral ready for a planned launch on January 17th. But without NASA personnel to oversee testing, the liftoff will be delayed.
Wait, I thought SpaceX was a private company.
Yeah. How's that work?
Let's dive into it when we come back, plus your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry MyPillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose.
And here's Mike's best offer ever. MyPillow is now offering 50% off their 4-pack special plus free shipping. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-951-5617 and use promo code FTL. That's 50% off plus free shipping. Don't delay. Order now.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. In an historic event, former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. To secure your spot, text JOIN to 76280. This event is the first of its kind ever. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls in the weeks and months ahead. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars. To join American Cannabis Summit, text JOIN to 76280. Attendance is free. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And we've been talking about some fish scientists, which I had you asked me, Darryl, is fish science a thing? I probably would not have said no, but I had not necessarily heard specifically of fish science. But there's a guy, Ian Taylor, who is a federal government fish scientist. His actual his actual title is Operations Research Analyst for NOAA's Northwest Fishery, NOAA being the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association. And I was curious, how much do Operation Research Analyst make?
Well, yeah, and you asked me that.
Yeah.
Off the air, and I threw out a number first. I said probably about 130,000, but then as he read it, he said, but you only need a bachelor's degree. Yep. You were reading more into the description. I'm like, well, then I'm going to go with 80,000.
Yeah, so the Bureau of Labor Statistics has information here. The median pay during 2017 was $81,390 per year.
Yep.
And as of 2016, which was the last year for which they had statistics on this particular occupation, there were 114,000 of them
is this public
across the country.
Public sector or private sector?
Yes. Total.
Total, okay.
And then I noticed they've got a bunch of little tabs up at the top.
Oh.
What do they do?
How convenient.
How to become one. Pay. And I was like, well, they already have pay, but let me just click on this. And they have it broken down even further. Federal government, manufacturing, professional scientific and technical services,
okay,
management of companies and enterprises, and finance and insurance.
Good. So you can answer my question. I'm just concerned about the federal government. How much does Fishman doctor alleged? No, he doesn't have to be a doctor because you only need a bachelor's degree.
Right.
We think.
$111,570 per year.
Wow.
Is the median annual wage for a federal employee who is an operations research analyst.
Well, there must only be 3 or 4 of those guys running around.
Not sure.
But we do know there's a bunch of them, and that sounds like a title the governments would use more so than private sector employers. So
Yeah.
the point is here, this poor guy who's not able to do his vital fish counts of hockey fish up and down the West Coast pulls home $111,000 plus federal government benefits.
Yes.
Plus a pension, which you people listening will be able to happily pay Fishman Taylor for.
What do you mean, you people?
For the rest of your lives. This will be an ongoing cost to the taxpayer, and this is the kind of thing that goes on. But this article again is titled "Look How Vital Our Scientists Are."
Right, and it mentions that there are 15,000 workers at NASA.
Right.
95% of whom have been sent home. I guess they need the other 5% to make sure that the International Space Station stays afloat.
That to me is pretty much the only moral obligation they have to stay there. It's, that somebody should be there because you do have lives at stake. Yes. Never mind that we put them there in the first place. But they should. They should make sure that those men and women are safe. I kind of get that. The rest of them, here's the thing, folks. If you have a government shutdown and it goes on for, let's say this thing goes on for 6 months. Oh, my God, Darryl. I mean, can you imagine the disasters that could occur? How about if it happens that after a month, after 2 months, after 6 months, people realize that, well, we didn't really need all that anyway.
Right.
And I think that's what people are scared of. That people in the government are scared of, that they will find out that the world didn't end. We're almost a month into this thing.
And what's going to be interesting, and there's more from this article that we might want to get into, depends on where the conversation goes. But Trump said that he's willing for this thing to last for years.
Okay. I'm sorry. I just got a stupid grin on my face. I've been waiting for a president to say that my whole life.
Well, one, I don't think it will.
I know that
because
but don't burst my bubble, Darryl.
Well, let me explain for everybody that's not sitting across the room from me. At some point, the the appropriations for paying the military is going to run out.
Sure.
At some point, the appropriations for funding the other 75% of the government that's not part of this partial government shutdown is going to run out.
Yep. What do you do then?
Am I to believe for 1 second that Donald Trump is not going to sign a bill to keep the military paid?
Oh, of course.
Because he said, I don't believe him, but he said that he will veto every spending bill that comes to his desk that does not include $5.7 billion for a wall.
Donald
if
and his
it
wall.
comes to pay the military or keep everything shut down, will he sign the bill to pay the military?
We know that, Darryl.
Knowing how bloated the National Defense Authorization Act always is, will Congress just throw funding for everything other than the wall into the NDAA?
You wouldn't even notice it. Oh, I mean, seriously, the NDAA, what's the bill on that thing? $1 trillion? Close to.
I think the last one was like $780 billion.
Yeah, so $780 billion, close to $1 trillion, are federal.
And then there's all kinds of other appropriations made to the military that winds up giving us that nearly $1 trillion.
Oh, yeah. But here's the thing. You got a $4 trillion budget. $780 billion ballpark is soaked up in supporting our troops in their vital missions to protect us in 700 different countries other than the United States, which they do. We have military bases in somewhere close to 700 countries.
There's not 700 countries.
I'm sorry.
We've
700
got about
military
700 bases in about 170.
170 countries.
Well, depending on how you count, because based on one count, if you count the territories as autonomous places,
right. The point
or
is,
if you count them as, like, oh yeah, that's part of this place, then it's somewhere between 130 and 170.
Let me continue with my thought if I can pick it back up. But the point is if we, he says, while we're at it, we need to beef things up there. So let's just make it around Make it a round trillion.
Right.
I'll sign an appropriations bill for our military for $1 trillion. You can look at that a few ways. You've either funded the military in excess of what they've been doing, or you've actually secretly slushed in a quarter of a year, 1/4 of 1 year in the government's needs, or 90 days worth of spending. So the whole thing is absurd.
Right. And the only reason that we're even talking about, maybe they can hide some funding for things in the military appropriations bill is because Congress keeps failing to do its job of actually passing a year-long budget. They keep doing these concurrent resolutions.
No, Darryl, that's in the Constitution. They must pass a budget. Just the last time they did it was in 2006, if I'm not mistaken.
It's been a while.
2006 was the last time your congressman actually sat down and passed a budget. The thing that they are supposed to do every year. They don't do that anymore. You know what they do? They pass continuing resolutions. They pass a little appropriations bill to the tune of $780 billion.
Yeah.
They do things like that. They do a farm bill. A farm bill that was, close to $1 trillion? Sucked into that thing?
I don't even remember.
And
but,
it had tons of stuff in it that had nothing to do with farms.
Libertarians were all happy that the farm bill passed because, there was, one of the 700 amendments that got added to it said that industrial hemp is no longer illegal.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Ooh, yay. There was one good provision in an otherwise absolutely horrible bill.
So
please forgive me for not doing backflips in celebration.
Right. And please, I almost cursed in a very crude way, but let's not go patting ourselves on the back because the government makes it through another year by not passing a budget.
Yeah.
When they don't pass a budget, that means that taxation and appropriations get done behind closed doors in all these myriad bills that you will never see. You will never see another budget passed where you can read the whole thing start to finish and it makes sense. Forget it. Those days are gone.
Oh, it's never going to make sense, and nobody's going to actually be able to read it start to finish before they actually vote on it because that's how things work. Hour 2 coming up next. This is Free Talk Live.
Pain in my neck, back, and shoulders has really gotten worse.
Relief for body pain is here with Sunny Bay heating pads.
Well, the last thing I want is to take another pill, so what's so good about Sunny Bay heating pads?
Sunny Bay heating pads, made by Biomed DB Design right here in the USA, come in all sizes. Our extra large microwavable heating pad for back pain is designed to be large enough to cover your entire back. It's also perfect to wrap around your legs, knees, or shoulder and neck.
But I need to know they're good quality.
Of course, Sunny Bay heating pads and pillows are often an Amazon choice, and it's easy and most affordable when you purchase your Sunny Bay heating pads right from our website, sunshinepillows.com, or call us 253-678-1361.
Hey, a Sunny Bay heating pad
would make a great gift, right?
Yes, and they start at just $19.99 and free shipping is available. So call 253-678-1361 or shop for your Sunny Bay heating pad at sunshinepillows.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Juicy Juice, 100% juice, providing a full serving of fruit in every 4 ounces. Visit us at juicyjuice.com. When it comes to nutrition, kids need both fruits and vegetables every day to stay healthy and grow. For the ideal mix, your kid should have at least 1.5 cups of any veggie or 100% veggie juice, and 1 cup of any fruit or 100% fruit juice a day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, January 17th, 2019. Silver is trading at $15.52 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,293 per ounce. Smart cash is trading at 1.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,607. Antiwar.com reports U.S. Army Chief General Mark Milley has become the first U.S. military leader to publicly confirm the Trump administration's planned withdrawal from Syria, making the comments roughly a month after the plan was announced. General Milley said that the U.S. is determined to finish off the Islamic State and then will hand the battle off to our indigenous partners. A spokesman later confirmed that indigenous partners meant the entire 74-nation anti-the Islamic State coalition. The coalition includes Turkey. A lot of details are absent in these comments, particularly on how to decide when the Islamic State is finished off, though analysts are broadly interpreting this as military confirmation that the pullout is happening. Vice President Mike Pence also reiterated the Trump administration's intentions to withdraw from Syria, though as with Milley, he offered little in the way of specifics and left things like a timetable totally unaddressed. In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, "Sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic." Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, or visit arebelsjourney.com. UPI reports cellular carrier Sprint said Wednesday it's decided to stop selling customers' location data to third parties, including bounty hunters, following AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon in the move. An investigation by tech publication Motherboard found that anyone can track the location of any cell phone for $300. For example, Motherboard found the location of a phone on T-Mobile's network was sold through a chain of different companies and a bounty hunter. This followed an investigation last year by the New York Times and Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon, which found another location aggregator provided data to law enforcement. The public's realization that telecommunication companies are selling location data was embarrassing for providers and put them in an awkward position because the information is useful for applications. After waffling on the issue last year, Sprint finally decided to cut ties with the data aggregators on Wednesday. AT&T and Verizon said last year they would stop selling data to third parties. Verizon will close 4 remaining contracts with roadside assistance companies. Once that's done, customers will have to give permission for the carrier to share location data with companies. T-Mobile will fully end its location aggregation in March. Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash is building a foundation that can support daily transactions for people everywhere. One feature that sets Smart Cash apart is the Smart Hive governance model and how the community can vote to fund the best projects with block rewards stored in the Smart Hive project treasury. Unlike other cryptocurrencies with voting systems, Smart Cash allows everyone to participate. One smart equals one vote. Learn more at smartcash.cc. Reuters reports with the partial U.S. government shutdown nearing 4 weeks, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi on Wednesday urged President Donald Trump to reschedule his State of the Union address, a move that could deny him the opportunity to use the pageantry of the speech to attack Democrats in their own chamber over the impasse. With Trump's address set for January 29th, Pelosi wrote him a letter citing security concerns because the Secret Service, which is required to provide security for the address, has not received funding during the dispute. The standoff was triggered by Trump's demands for $5.7 billion to fund a border wall along the U.S.-Mexico border, which Democrats oppose. Presidents traditionally deliver the address, which lays out the administration's goals for the upcoming year in the House of Representatives chamber before a joint session of Congress and the majority of the cabinet. Democrats took control of the House after last November's congressional elections. During the shutdown, Trump has routinely blamed them for the stalemate, although he had earlier said he would take responsibility. Pelosi suggested that if Trump would not agree to reschedule the speech until the government reopens, he could deliver it from the Oval Office instead, a setting that would lack the grandeur of a congressional address. The White House had no immediate comments on Pelosi's request, and her letter appeared to have taken aides by surprise. It pointed out that she had invited Trump to make the State of the Union address at the Capitol, but said the shutdown complicated the situation. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen said on Twitter her department and the Secret Service were prepared to handle a presidential speech at the Capitol. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A new video game is being criticized for its harsh portrayal of barbed wire. Here's GameBite's Caitlin Torres with more.
Bethesda's The Evil Within is a nightmarish adventure that shows bloody and rusty barbed wire being used to hurt innocent people, which has angered the nation's barbed wire producers.
Barbed wire is a positive force for good. It protects our junkyards from scrap metal thieves and helps keep our cattle ranches safe from rustlers. But Bethesda thinks it's okay to ignore all the benefits of barbed wire and make it look like some scary thing used by murderers.
The designers have promised that the game will feature prominent messages extolling the virtues of the sharp steel fencing. But barbed wire groups say that it's too little too late.
If Bethesda wants to make this right, they should have the main character go behind a fence and then be safe from monsters because they can't climb over the barbed wire to get him. Now that's a game I would play.
Let's hope Bethesda listens.
Thanks, Caitlin.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can call in and talk live to us, and you can do so freely by dialing toll-free 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, we've got the Discord on-air call-in lines available over at discord.lrn.fm. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And we've been talking about the ever-important, or as Wired says, vital government scientist, one of them being a fish scientist, whose official title, and I had just closed the tab, Operations Research Analyst, who probably makes at least $111,570. That's according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median wage for federal government operations research analyst, where he's saying, I can't do fish science anymore, and that makes me sad.
Well, he counts fish, Darryl, and that's important. Otherwise, fishermen don't know how many fish they're allowed to catch.
Right, but could the fishermen not just hire the fish counter themselves?
Well, fish counters aren't good with customers, Darryl. I'm trying to work in a little office space stuff there.
Yeah.
But that's the silliness of this.
The fish counters associate the Guild of Fishermen hire a fish counter.
Yeah, and then they could see what impact they're having on the total number of fish. That makes sense to you and I, but there's this belief that none of these things could ever occur without government.
Right, that's why we were told we need private companies like SpaceX and what's the other one? Blue Horizon?
Blue Horizon, yeah, absolutely.
To shoot these rockets up into space, but apparently there's a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket sitting on a launch pad that was supposed to have launched today, but without NASA personnel to oversee the launch, they can't do it.
Right.
Then what's the purpose of having the private company blow things into space?
Well, I think of Elon.
If we still need NASA to stand there to say, yep, you can push the button.
Right. So when you hear companies talk about how much money they're saving by taking these previously, government-run programs and making them private sector, you have to question these things because they work hand in hand. And in the case of Elon Musk, we've reported on a dozen times. Here's a guy that at last count had received somewhere north of $5 billion from the U.S. government in handouts and tax credits and everything else. And his whole business model is all about how do I get money from the government to support my projects or to make them feasible in the first place. And that's not it. So yeah, this one's delayed. Also, crews that fly over the Atlantic to check on endangered Atlantic right whales and send those positions to commercial ships are still working, but they aren't being paid. So again, do we need NASA personnel to watch whales? And I know that the right whales are endangered. I get that.
Right.
I like
they
whales.
live in the ocean, and NASA deals with space.
I know that, but they have satellites up there that they can track right whales.
I'm just thinking that you would have, NOAA doing this.
You would think
the Oceanic,
Oceanic and Atmospheric Association.
The oceanic people.
Right.
Like they should do ocean stuff.
Right.
And NASA should do space stuff.
And you would think there would be some sort of clear delineation there if things were run
But I believe
reasonably.
they both have their own SWAT teams for some reason.
They do. Weather forecasters are working during the shutdown, but hundreds of scientists from NOAA and the National Weather Service have been banned from attending the annual American Meteorological Society meeting this week in Phoenix.
Wait,
they are
why were
banned.
they banned from the Meteorological Society?
I know, and they were going to have the after party at Hooters. You know,
they were going to order all the hamburgers.
You're complaining because you were banned from going on a government boondoggle to attend an annual Meteorological Society meeting. Now, I'm sure these guys discuss important things, and I'm sure that there are vital papers that come out that the meteorologists should know about, but I've also never been to any event involving a large group of professionals, and I've been to a few where there wasn't a ton of booze and chasing ladies.
Well, I'm curious here, and it could just be Wired using the word banned.
Right.
I'm wondering if it's just a thing of, since the government shut down, FedGov is no longer paying for you to go.
Probably.
If you want to, buy the ticket out of your own pocket, go ahead. That's not banned. That's just you not getting a paid vacation.
Right.
Those are two different things.
Yep. Antonio Busalaki was supposed to be on a panel with colleagues from federal weather agencies, but they didn't show up. Science is a community, and this is where people come together to discuss common problems, says Bucalachi, president of the University Corporation for Atmospheric Development. I'm not sure what development we're doing in the atmosphere.
Article that I have pulled up says academic research.
That sounds about right. A consortium of academic institutions that conduct and promote the study of earth sciences, which means they get money likely from the federal government to study the atmosphere and earth science.
Yes.
Quote, last month we were talking about the workforce in the future, but now we can't discuss how best to go forward, unquote.
The University Corporation for Atmospheric Research is a nonprofit consortium of more than 100 colleges and universities providing research and training in the atmospheric and related sciences. UCAR manages the National Center for Atmospheric Research and provides additional services to strengthen and support research and education through its community programs.
Right. So in a nutshell, they are tax-free. They are tax-exempt. They don't have to pay income taxes, yet they are funded, I will wager, in a large part by the federal government and your tax dollars.
Probably so.
Yeah. Busalaki is also worried that he may have to shut down a meteorological research program UCAR runs called COSMIC. It uses a fleet of existing GPS satellites to measure the atmosphere's temperature and humidity. The data is then sent to federal NWS, National Weather Service forecasters, who use it to make both short-term weather and long-term climate predictions. Climate predictions over the long term are notoriously flawed. By the way, I'm so sorry. It's so insensitive of me to bring that up when Miami and New York are underwater, because that's what those climate models said they would be, 10, 15 years ago.
With the hockey stick graph that Al Gore invented?
Yeah, we got that. And
now I did find out where the funding comes from for UCAR. Funding includes grants from and contracts with NOAA, NASA, Department of Defense, the FAA, Department of Energy, the EPA, and other agencies and organizations.
There you go.
So, they're largely funded by the federal government while being a private nonprofit consortium of more than 100 colleges and universities.
Right. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that could either be done in the private sector or they could just go away. Quote, we may be running the risk of shutting down a program because we're not getting the funds from the government, unquote, he says. If COSMIC gets shut down, data analysis would be paused, potentially weakening some forecasts because forecasts are so good today.
Right. So there's been, since you're talking about forecast, I've been hearing for like 2-3 days now, storm coming to New England, going to hit all of the Northeast. Somewhere between 2 to 3 feet of snow, but it might be 2 to 3 inches.
Right.
And there might be some ice, or maybe it's freezing rain or no rain. There may or may not be heavy wind, and the temperatures will be somewhere between -10 to 20 degrees above freezing.
Yeah. There's your forecast. You heard it here first, and that's as accurate as anything you're going to get.
No, accurate is the sun will come out tomorrow. Tomorrow. It's only one day away. Your calls and thoughts. Welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, we've got the Discord call-in lines available over at discord.lrn.fm. This is Free Talk Live.
Ike was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com. The omega-3 fatty acids, flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash also features Smart Rewards, a price stabilization mechanism, and a way to encourage long-term holding. Long-term holders are key to the project's success. You can earn Smart Rewards on any address for which you hold the private keys, which holds at least 1,000 Smart for 1 month and does not make any outgoing transactions during that time. Smart Rewards are distributed every 47,500 blocks to all eligible addresses. Learn more at smartcash.cc.
You want to know the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis? Then I've got some good news for you. Former CIA officer and New York Times best-selling author Jason Hansen is now giving listeners a free copy of his book, The Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 Items You Must Have to Survive a Crisis. You can claim your copy at freeescapebook.com. Don't delay. Jason reveals the guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters that could save your life in an economic collapse or grid-down event. Get your free book today, freeescapebook.com. freeescapebook.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com, We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733 in studio tonight. It's Darryl.
And Chris.
And want to make sure that I tell you about Smart Cash, which is a newer cryptocurrency. It's been around for, I'm wanting to say, coming up on 2 years, which in the, grand scheme of cryptocurrencies, relatively new, but compared to Bitcoin, which has been around for 10 years, there's probably things that, got released last week that there's only like 4 people that are using. But Smart Cash is trying to, and I realize most cryptocurrencies say we're trying to do something different, but they actually appear to be trying to do something different. They're fast, secure, easy to use. The cell phone app, very easy to use. I've personally not used the web, or not the web application, but like the computer
full
thing.
Client, or
they've got full client. They've also got, I think, just a standalone wallet for computers. I've not used those. Heard that they're super easy as well. And something else that sets Smart Cash apart is the Smart Hive governance model and how the community can vote to fund the best projects with block rewards stored in the Smart Hive project treasury. You might be asking yourself, Darryl, how's that different from some of the other cryptos that let people vote? Well, unlike other cryptos with voting systems, Smart Cash allows everybody to vote. One smart equals one vote. Whereas with some of the others, you need 1,000 or 10,000 set aside. And then, those 10,000 coins are one vote. Smart Cash also has Smart Rewards, which rewards people for holding for, a longer term, if you will. So what they do with the Smart Rewards is for any address for which you hold the private keys and hold at least 1,000 Smart for at least 1 month from the time they take the snapshot and have no outgoing transactions during the time, you wind up getting Smart Rewards distributed to your wallets. Smart Rewards are distributed roughly every month. It's 47,500 blocks distributed to all eligible addresses. Again, to be eligible, has to be an address for which you hold the private keys, where you have at least 1,000 Smart and have had no outgoing transactions since the last snapshot. Learn more at smartcash.cc. That's smartcash.cc. There's more from the Wired article about government scientists being vital and how the supposed shutdown is impacting things like SpaceX not being able to blast off a rocket. But SpaceX is a private company, you ask. Yep. And they're dependent upon FedGov for certain things. Before we get back to the article, let's go to Sarah calling in from New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Oh, yes. I was hoping that Jackie was on tonight. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's Darryl and Chris.
We're sorry to disappoint you. Can you hear me?
I guess Sarah cannot hear us. I'm going to put her on hold, or I was going to put her on hold. She appears to have dropped the line. So call screener, if she calls back, let her call in. I know normally it's 1 call per night, but appeared to be some technical difficulties there. So Chris, let's continue with the Wired article here.
Yeah, we were discussing how, a bunch of government scientists are not allowed to attend the American Meteorological Society meeting in Phoenix, and how this is crucial to them.
Right.
So that's just one example of crucialness that government scientists have. The gentleman that's being interviewed was Mr. Busalaki, who works for the National Weather Service. And he says that they may have to shut down this program called Cosmic that uses a fleet of existing GPS satellites to measure the atmosphere's temperature and humidity. The data is then sent to federal NWS forecasters who use it not only for regular predictions of weather, which they do with astounding inaccuracy, but also for long-term climate models, which are even more flawed. Quote, we may be running the risk of shutting this program down because we're not getting the funds from the government, unquote, he said. If Cosmic gets shut down, data analysis would be paused, potentially weakening some forecasts. As we said before, those forecasts are sort of weak already.
Right.
But equally frustrating is the fact that Bousalaki is left in the dark of how to handle the program. With no information coming from his federal partners, he doesn't know whether to keep his spending money or to sustain the program or pull the plug. Reams of scientific data are still being collected remotely by federal-operated satellites, automatic river gauges, and other non-federal scientists, but the policies and permits that rely on this science are now in limbo. As a result, one legal expert worries that the shutdown could result in more air and water pollution being discharged by companies with permits that expire during the shutdown. So, again, this is typical.
One thing that we don't have to worry about, I think, is the EPA doing some polluting during the shutdown.
Because they are known for that. They will not go to the, what was the river? I want to say...
some river out in Colorado.
Starts with a C, but, you know, the EPA went in because they suspected that it was leaking something, and they went out there to fix it. And by fix it, I mean... they basically blew a hole that let all the dangerous stuff into the river.
Yes.
And
for 2 or 3 days, everybody was talking about this is why we need the EPA to prevent private companies from doing this pollution. And then it came out, no, it was an EPA science guy.
Yeah, who did all that. And none of the environmental, this is again a quote by, let me see.
This is Caleb Bennett.
Yep, quote, none of the federal environmental laws are written in such a way if the government is shut down, you can't do anything about it, said Kyla Bennett, senior attorney for the nonprofit group, Public Employees for Environmental Responsibility, which advocates on behalf of federal workers and a former EPA employee. Instead, the law implies that companies can proceed on their own, unquote. It says, if you don't hear anything, go ahead, unquote. Well, that to me kind of makes sense. If you're not causing any harm,
right.
If none of your neighbors are complaining about what you're doing, then you should proceed. You shouldn't sit around and wait for a federal government, which is notoriously inefficient, to say, yes, you can do this. This is backwards. The Environmental Protection Agency furloughed about 14,000 of its employees last, leaving just 753, quote, essential, unquote, workers on the job. That might make it more difficult for the agency to meet legal deadlines later this year for safety assessments of about 40 chemicals, according to a news report in the journal Nature. The agency has already postponed at least one upcoming advisory committee meeting related to the work. I'm sorry, these things are so crucial, Darryl, and we're seeing late reports. We're seeing meteorologists not able to attend a big party in Phoenix.
I need the TPS reports by noon on Friday.
Right.
And your calls and thoughts, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
At WolfHillAmmo.com, we love shotguns. We offer the best specialty shotgun ammo on the market, including our defensive combo packs for home and retreat. Our less lethal combo is good for animal control, the 4-legged kind and 2-legged. When lethal force is necessary, reach for our Stop 'em, Drop 'em, or our home defense combos. These 5-round packs include different heavy hitters to protect your loved ones. Visit WolfHillAmmo.com to see our great prices on these combo packs and other specialty shotgun ammo rounds. WolfHillAmmo.com.
You haven't experienced yogurt until you've tried a Mossy, embodying health and flavor in a true whole milk, green-fed dairy beverage. Every sip pays homage to our old world cows and the ancient culturing methods their milk benefits from. With over 30 probiotics, a Mossy's undeniably nutritious, refined, cultured sensation bolsters your health and awakens your passion for dairy. A Mossy's so good, and you need to try it. Contact your Longevity distributor or call 877-878-4203 or go to gcnteam.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And Chris, have you heard the good news from Sprint?
I'm reading it just now, Darryl, because you brought it up, and I wanted to get ahead of you a little bit.
Apparently, they're going to stop selling location data to third parties after a motherboard investigation. I've got an article here actually from Vice, which is on their motherboard subdomain. Let's jump into it. I did read something from UPI earlier and then realized, oh, wow, that article is much shorter than I remembered. Let's see if I can find something longer. So got this from Motherboard. They say last week, Motherboard revealed that AT&T, T-Mobile, and Sprint had all been selling their customers' real-time location data that ultimately ended up in the hands of bounty hunters and people unauthorized to handle the data. Motherboard found this by purchasing the capability to geolocate a phone for $300 on the black market. In response, AT&T and T-Mobile said they were stopping all sales of location data to third parties. Nearly a week later, Sprint has committed to doing the same. They say Sprint issued a statement to Motherboard, but then apparently there was a spokesperson from Sprint who said, as a result of recent events, we have decided to end our arrangement with data aggregators.
Well, good. So, to me, it's sort of a mixed bag. When you sign a contract with a company for some sort of service, like cell phone service, in that fine print, that thing you never read, but you eagerly sign because you can't wait to get your hands on your new Galaxy 9, are these details where they have claimed rights to your data and you just signed them over.
Right.
And if they want to sell them to anybody they want, they can.
Well, I've got questions about some of the no contract cell service.
Right.
Where, I know T-Mobile offers it. The company that I go through, they, have a deal with Sprint where it runs off of the Sprint towers.
Sure.
But I technically have a no contract plan.
How much did you have to sign for that?
I didn't sign anything.
Did you click OK on something on a website?
Probably a decade ago.
Probably you did. And that's the thing. Because there's no contract doesn't mean there's no paperwork.
Right.
And once they have your phone number and they have access to all your data, every bit of your data flows through their systems. They can do what they wish. Right. So there is a difference between no contract and black
something without paperwork.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's just pointing it out because you mentioned about signing a contract, which I think most people with cell phones have a service agreement of some sort.
Sure.
Where they've actually signed some physical document somewhere,
and it probably says that we may use parts of your data, information about you for certain marketing purposes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, question here, and I'm hoping that if you don't, that's fine. Who are these data aggregators that Motherboard refers to?
Yeah, so data aggregators exist in the web world and the mobile web world and everything else. They basically buy all the data from companies like Sprint or companies like Comcast or any of these others, so they can mine it. By mining, what I mean is they will, use big data and analysis to determine what types of things you're likely to like and want, and they will then sell that to advertisers or to people selling advertising. And that's why, I can target people. We're doing some Facebook advertising right now.
All right.
I'm able to target people that show a strong interest in really good food, and they follow current news events and viral stories, and that they are likely to
buy
a t-shirt that says "Fa Keen Great" on it.
Yes.
Which you can only buy at Route 101 Local Goods or Route101Gifts.com.
Right. So I remember covering something a while back where there's always the stories of, Facebook is listening to the microphone on my phone, and Facebook says, no, we're not doing that. And I read a story that, sort of explained the process of how you wind up seeing certain ads on Facebook. And some of it was, talking about the data aggregators where, let's say you've got a CVS rewards card.
Yeah.
And you go in and you buy certain things.
Yep.
Well, CVS is selling the info to some data aggregator that's getting info from somewhere else, and then they're just doing 2 + 2 and coming out with, oh, you bought tissues and this and that, you might want to buy Motrin.
Well, this is a real concern that a lot of people should have. It's not that Sprint is the sole source of data about you if you have a Sprint phone. What the data aggregators are able to do is say, okay, we see that he has a Sprint phone, so that gives us location data. We see that he's signed up for these 30 or 40 rewards programs, so we know what he's doing in all these stores. We can see his credit report because that's public information, right? Anybody can pull that stuff, right?
I don't know if it's necessarily public information, but Equifax has been hacked so many times it might as well be.
It doesn't matter. It's not like you need a court order to get somebody's, financial history and background. Right. You can do that if you're a big company just by opening an account with Equifax or one of the big three. So I have all his financial data. I know everything. I can see what he's posting about. I can mine his social media or her social media for certain keywords.
Right.
And it generates this huge and complex file about you. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's how these companies are making money. And the long and the short of it is if you choose to lead an open life, you're going to have a lot of conveniences because of that. You're not going to see ads that are not pertinent to you. You're probably going to get some good offers you'll take advantage of. The downside is somebody really does know everything about you, probably more than you know about yourself.
Right. And, as you mentioned, there's some kind of fine print in whatever, even if you're just clicking an I agree button online.
Yeah.
Well, there's no chance for you to say, well, I don't agree to this one specific line.
Right. Take it or leave it.
You either agree to all of it or you agree to none of it.
Right.
Continuing on with the Motherboard article here, Sprint did not provide a timeline on when data access selling may end, but T-Mobile and AT&T had previously said their processes will be complete in March. In Motherboard's investigation, the phone they located was on the T-Mobile network. The access to location data was sold through a complex network of different companies. T-Mobile said they sold the access to a so-called location aggregator called Zumigo. Zumigo then sold it to a company called Microbuilt, which caters to various clients, including bounty hunters. A bounty hunter then sold the phone location data to a source, who then provided it to Motherboard. Last year, the New York Times and Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon showed how another location aggregator called Location Smart had sold data to Secure Us, a middleman company, which provided phone tracking services to low-level law enforcement without a warrant. In response, Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, and T-Mobile all cut off access to Secure Us and vowed to do more to clean up this overlooked side of the telecommunications data industry. Sprint statement continued. Last year, we decided to end our arrangement with data aggregators, but assessed that the negative impacts to customers for services like roadside assistance and bank fraud alerts / protection that would result required a different approach.
Wow.
There's more to this article, plus your calls and thoughts. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, we've got the Discord on-air call-in lines available over at discord.lrn.fm. This is Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite is nutrition.
Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops, get the 3rd bottle free.
New improved Lico Chops with omega-3, omega-6, vitamin E.
And now, 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The Deep State Began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
If you're just tuning in, a horrific accident. Dozens are dead and hundreds more injured after the Coors Light party train crashed in Pratt, Kansas. The train was barreling through a field on its way to liven up a boring, overheated barbecue when something went wrong. Partiers were thrown hundreds of feet from the train as the frost-powered locomotive careened through bystanders at its normal speed of over 27,000 miles per hour. Rescue crews are struggling to get close to the crash. The Rocky Mountain frost radiating from the downed silver bullet is flash freezing survivors' bodies as they try to escape the wreckage, and the OJ's hit song Love Train is looping at deafening levels. No word yet on the cause of the accident, but investigators are focusing now on the fact that the train weighs 400 million tons and was not on rails. Coors Light has released the following statement, quote, Coors Light regrets any loss of life caused by the Coors Light party train's raw, frosty power. Please continue to enjoy Coors Light. We'll have more on this story as it develops.
This is the Onion News Network.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And before we get back to the motherboard article here about Sprint, I think making the right decision to stop selling data, customer phone data, to third parties. Now, they do mention some of the problems that could be associated with that, such as services like roadside assistance and, say, bank fraud alerts not working properly if roadside assistance and your bank don't have your location data. Again, more from the article that we'll get to in just a second, but maybe you're looking for a good night's sleep and you don't want to rely on a cell phone, because trying to use a cell phone for a pillow, bad idea. You want a good pillow, and you want my pillow, but you can't have mine. It belongs to me, but you can get a My Pillow from the company My Pillow. And I am super happy with mine. Chris, you've had one. I think you're happy as well.
I am happy. And I slept well last night on My Pillow.
And it's designed to help you get a good night's sleep. And with a 60-day money-back guarantee, you really have nothing to lose. Go to MyPillow.com, get 2 MyPillow premium pillows for one low price, and get free shipping on all orders when you use promo code FTL. And remember, if for some reason you don't like your MyPillow, you have 60 days to return it for a refund of the purchase price. That's MyPillow.com, promo code FTL. Jumping back into the article here again, Sprint saying that they're going to join companies like AT&T and T-Mobile in cutting off third parties from being able to buy cell phone location data. Again, statement from Sprint says, last year we decided to end our arrangements with data aggregators, but assess the negative impacts to customers for services like roadside assistance and bank fraud that would require a different approach. But Sprint's move, like that of AT&T and T-Mobile, will see it cutting access to location aggregators altogether. An AT&T spokesperson previously told CNET, last year we stopped most location aggregation services while maintaining some that protect our customers, such as roadside assistance and fraud prevention. In light of recent reports about the misuse of location services, we have decided to eliminate all location aggregation services, even those with clear consumer benefits. A spokesperson from T-Mobile previously told Motherboard via email that the company is completely ending location aggregation work in March as planned and as promised. Last week, Verizon told the Washington Post it is closing down 4 remaining location aggregator contracts. All of those deal with roadside assistance companies. Once that process is complete, consumers will have to give Verizon permission to share their location with firms.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point in this whole conversation. Is it's relatively easy given the granularity of rights that you wish to grant to a app on your phone. You know, do you want this app to have access to your contacts? Right. Yes or no? Do you want this app to have contacts to your location?
You don't need access to my contacts.
Right.
No, camera, you don't need access to my location. Yes, camera, you do need access to the camera.
Right. So we're used to seeing these things. So if companies choose to be more consumer friendly and more privacy aware, they can easily build those things into their applications.
Right.
And that's a responsible thing to do.
Some of the things that you mentioned, I think, have a lot more to do with the operating system possibly requiring that.
Right.
Or the app store that you're going through requiring apps that want to access various things. Asking, hey, if you want to be listed in our app store, and I don't know if Google Play or any of the things do this, but it could be possible of, oh, you want listed? Okay, you've got to have privacy protections.
Right. And app developers pretty much do that already. The question is what are the carriers doing? Because the carriers, whether you've said yes or no to something, they have the data anyway. Right. So I guess the question is, will phone manufacturers put in some sort of safeguard against the carrier themselves? And I think that's a good idea too.
Right.
It as a consumer, I would appreciate that.
Right. Continuing on, Verizon has not responded to Motherboard's multiple requests for comments since starting the investigation. On Wednesday, House Committee on Energy and Commerce GOP leaders wrote letters to AT&T, Mobile, Sprint, and Verizon, requesting answers to a variety of questions, including asking the telcos to identify which third parties they have shared location data with, and location data and information with at any time since 2007. The letter also asked the telcos how they evaluate the efficacy of audit programs to ensure data customers are obtaining consent from those being monitored, and whether they are aware of any other incidents of inappropriate or illegal use of location data through a third party.
Right.
Again, some of the illegal or inappropriate use was when a company called Secure Us was selling information to police officers without a warrant.
And it's really interesting, and we covered that story when it came out, but those of us who live here in Keene, New Hampshire, and have had many friends spend a weekend or a few weeks or months at the Keene Spiritual Center,
yes,
which is how we refer to the Cheshire County Jail.
Yes.
For various acts of civil disobedience. We know the Securus name because when you go there to visit them, you establish a video link with the person you are visiting through a company called Securus. If you wish to call them on the phone and you've set up a time for them to call, you do it through the online system of Securus. Odds are really good that there's a jail in your area, wherever you are in the United States, that uses these same systems from Securus. Securus has established that they will give information to police officers so they can conduct searches without warrants by gaining this access, and they are tied into your community, and that's a real concern.
Yeah. Let's go to the phones. We've got Jimmy calling in from New Hampshire. Jimmy, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Chris, you're lucky you still have use of those hands for doxing me, and it's not a joking matter.
Thank you for the call, and that was not somebody calling in from New Hampshire. That was somebody who has been told that he's not supposed to be calling this radio program.
James, my gosh.
Let's go to Kevin calling in from Virginia. Kevin, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, guys. I just wanted to talk about kind of progressivism, but I would call it Marxism, classical Marxism.
Yep, go ahead. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, so there's heavy Marxism in history and universities. I'm an econ major, so I've never taken a history course, and I'm doing so right now. And this class it's really filled with bullshit.
Yeah, you can't say that on the radio, Kevin. There are certain words that cannot be said on broadcast radio, and that was one of them.
Dang it. So we got one who actually wanted to talk about Marxism, or at least he said he did. That sounded like another troll.
Yeah.
And James from Arizona. Man, it's been so long since we've chatted, and you just immediately got banned because you lied about who you were when you called in.
Yeah, and he had previously been told that there was a ban that I don't think has expired. A little bit more from this motherboard piece that we'll get into. Again, some Republican members of the House Committee on Energy and Commerce, they sent letters to Microbuilt and Zumigo, which are some of these data aggregators, and they asked for more information on the data that they use and the scope of the agreements that they have with telcos. After Motherboard's investigation, several senators called on the FCC to investigate. Frank Pallone, the chair of the House Committee on Energy and Commerce, asked FCC Chairman Ajit Pai for an emergency briefing on the issue, but Pai refused to do so during the government shutdown. Jessica Rosenworkel, commissioner of the FCC, tweeted on Monday, "Your wireless phone location data is being sold by shady entities that you never gave permission to track you. That's a personal and national security issue. No law stops the FCC from meeting with Congress to discuss this right now. It needs investigation." Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. In an historic event, former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. To secure your spot, text JOIN to 76280. This event is the first of its kind ever. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls in the weeks and months ahead. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars. To join American Cannabis Summit, text JOIN to 76280. Attendance is free. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Find us online at snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with the Liberty Beat for Thursday, January 17th, 2019. Gold opened today at $1,293. Silver opened at $15.52. And Bitcoin is trading around $3,609. Today's prices are brought to you by CMM Digital, supplying cinematic video production. When quality is your highest priority, CMM Digital delivers. Visit them today at cmmdigital.space. In the news, as the government shutdown continues, debris, trash, and snow are piling up at national parks across the country, as those who get paid to maintain them stay home. To fill that void, volunteers from all walks of life have stepped up to fill their shoes. However, despite the shutdown, government bureaucracy continues, as those willing to work are finding out. Activist Post reports a group of libertarians in Tennessee have been volunteering at national parks to do the work, but have now been told to end those efforts. As the volunteers with the Libertarian Party of Tennessee Delta region began cleaning up Shiloh National Military Park last weekend, they were quickly approached by park rangers who demanded they leave the property. According to the representative from the Libertarian Party, the volunteers were told to cease their work and leave immediately during an interaction captured on video.
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is there's forms that have to be filled out. To cover y'all, to cover us.
We're not going to sue if that's an issue.
After arguing with the ranger, the group eventually saw what Activist Post calls the futile nature of the situation, and they left. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And Liberty Beat listeners right now, a special offer just for you. Use promo code SNLS at checkout to receive 10% off your purchase. This is the Liberty Beat for Thursday, January 17th, 2019. Find us online at snls.news. The news now continues. Marzieh Hashemi, an American citizen and journalist who has been living and working in Iran, has been detained without charge or justification by the U.S. government since Sunday, when she arrived at Lambert International Airport in St. Louis to visit her sick brother. Midpress News is reporting that Hashemi, an African-American born in New Orleans, who later converted to Islam, currently works as a journalist for the Iranian English-language news network Press TV. She has since been transferred to a detention facility in Washington at the request of the FBI. That's according to reports from Press TV and the Associated Press. U.S. officials have yet to provide any justification for Hashemi's detention. Once Hashemi was allowed to speak to her family in the United States, she detailed a slew of abuses she had suffered during her detention, which were clear violations of her religious rights. The World Health Organization has listed vaccine hesitancy, the delay in acceptance or refusal of vaccines despite their availability, as one of its top 10 health threats facing the world in 2019. Newsweek reports that data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows that while coverage of most recommended vaccines remained relatively stable and high in 2017 for American children aged 19 to 35 months, The percentage who have received no vaccinations has quadrupled since 2001. According to a recent published study, increasing numbers of people in many U.S. states now hold anti-vaccination views. Other countries with notable anti-vax movements include Australia, where around 40,000 children are unvaccinated because of the objections of their parents, and Italy, which introduced new rules in 2018, suspending the mandatory vaccinations that were required for children to be admitted to school. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. It's simple. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at snls.news. And coming soon to the SNLS network is The Bones of Anarchy, a podcast produced by activist Tony Bones. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat on this Thursday, January 17th, 2019, reminding you to spread liberty with a smile.
Gilman's Hardware is a local business with a very special story. Although small and family-owned, the storefront operation has managed to consistently exploit and debase its workers just as if they were members of a giant multinational corporation.
From the moment I started the store 6 years ago, I wanted to make sure that every employee here at Gilman's felt like they were nothing more than a cog in a giant machine, just as if they had worked at one of our larger corporate competitors.
Den Blaker said that despite having only 10 employees and a single location, he's managed to implement a number of unique policies to significantly reduce employee morale, including forbidding sales clerks to sit down during lengthy shifts, reducing their number of days with paid time off, and insisting on humiliating pat-downs during lunch breaks to ensure they never felt like trusted or valued employees.
Other small businesses might have given me benefits or, let me take a day off. But everyone here at Gilman's does their best to treat you like you're a totally replaceable tool for generating profit.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, kicking off hour number 3. You are free to call in and talk live with us. The us in studio tonight is Darryl
and Chris,
and the toll-free call-in line is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, we do have the Discord on-air call-in lines available over at discord.lrn.fm. And as we do from time to time, some people might say too much.
Some might say not enough.
Venezuela,
but not just Venezuela.
So if we were to do word association, I say Venezuela, you say...
I say cryptocurrency.
Oh, I say train wreck.
Right, and a lot of people will...
I then say hyperinflation.
Right.
I then say slow motion train wreck. I say starvation.
Yeah.
Dead zoo animals.
Yep. Maduro, and it's really been bad in Venezuela, and right. Venezuela is experiencing something called hyperinflation.
Right, and there was a recent election. We're not going to delve too far into, but the U.S. government has said that they're not recognizing the validity of the results, that the opposition candidate should be deemed the rightful winner, because voter suppression, low turnout, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
He was arrested, and there was one person within the Venezuelan government that said, yeah, opposition guy, go ahead. Name your cabinet. That way we know who else to throw in prison with you.
Right.
But because the U.S. government has said that they're not recognizing Maduro as the legitimate head of state, that allows Maduro to, again, claim victim of the United States government,
right.
That the opposition is American puppets,
right.
And everything that's happening in Venezuela, hyperinflation, is America's fault.
Right.
That's not to say that the United States government is blameless here, because there are sanctions that prevent you and I from doing business with people in Venezuela.
Sadly. And that's it. But this article really is talking about hyperinflation. And For those of you listening who may not be familiar with the term hyperinflation, I think we all know what inflation is, though we may not understand the exact cause.
Right.
What we think of as inflation is when I remember a year ago, the price of milk per gallon was, was,
let's just say $1.
Let's say $1 just for argument's sake, and now it's $1.10. Prices go up. That's what they do. Well, the fact is that governments control your money. They control how much money goes into circulation, and if you have more of something, then each unit becomes worth less and less. And in the United States, that's controlled by the Federal Reserve. They determine how much money is in circulation.
Right.
The issue is when you get too much money in circulation, then inflation tends to rise, and then you have something like what's going on now, where the Federal Reserve is saying, "Well, whoa, too much." So we're going to pull back some money. We're going to reduce, we're going to raise interest rates so we have less money being created by banks, because banks also create money out of thin air. They do this by credit, by loans and things like that. So in the old days, when a bank would make loans, they would base it on the amount of money they had in deposits. If I had $1,000 in deposits in my bank, well, I could loan, those dollars out and earn some interest on that. And, if I earn 5 or 6% interest on it, that's great.
And then you can pay the account holders a little bit for storing the money with you, because you're making money, they're making money.
Right. And that's
because why should I hand my money over to you, Chris?
Right. Because, and if the answer is simply because I'm going to put it to risk, you're going to say, well, what kind of risk? I mean, am I going to lose everything, or is this a really, is it a sound investment?
Right.
But this is the boring role that banks used to play. They used to earn small amounts of money off of loans and interest because they were going to have to pay out interest to get people to use the banks in the first place. When the Federal Reserve Act came along, it really freed things up for banks to do things like, well, enough of this, maintaining reserves for all our loans and our deposits. Let's call it fractional reserve banking.
Well,
so now,
fractional reserve was around long before the Federal Reserve.
It has, but it was legitimized and put into national use by the Federal Reserve Act. So in fractional reserve banking, let's say I get $1 in deposits. The way it works now, the system that you've all grown up into, is say, if I've got $1 in deposits, now I can loan out $9.
Right.
And that means that a very small fraction is actually held by the bank of all its deposits, which means if everybody at your bank, if you have a little credit union or something like that you like to go to, just organize everybody to go in and say, you know what, I'd like to take out all my money today. You will cause that bank to collapse.
Don't have it.
They will not have it. They
right. That's what
do
happened at the start of the Great Depression. There was the run on the banks.
Yep. And the reason that FDR declared a bank holiday, which meant all the banks closed so people couldn't take their money out.
Right.
So this is what happens when too much money gets into circulation. In hyperinflation, that whole system gets out of whack.
I've got a definition here from Investopedia.
Go ahead.
Or not actually a definition, but more an explanation. They say, whereas normal inflation is measured in terms of monthly price increases, or often we hear it of yearly.
Sure.
Hyperinflation is measured in terms of exponential daily increases that can approach 5 to 10% per day. Hyperinflation occurs when the inflation rate exceeds 50% for a month.
Right. Now, the United States runs at around 3% per year. The Federal Reserve tries to keep it around
Tries
there.
to be around 3. I think sometimes it's 2.
A little bit more. Yep, more or less.
So let's just explain this 50% inflation per month. So that $1 gallon of milk.
Yep.
Well, on February 17th,
yep,
it would be $1.50.
Yep.
And then on March 17th, it would be
$2.25.
Yeah. And then
and that's considered hyperinflation.
Yes.
The hyperinflation that the people are feeling in Venezuela goes something like this. Quote,
where they've officially stopped calculating the rate of inflation.
Right. This story begins, quote, "Why do I need Bitcoin?" unquote. I get that question a lot from my friends. This is the writer of this article saying the truth is that they don't need Bitcoin. Not really. Their credit cards work fine. ATMs reliably spit out cash. Tomorrow, the U.S. dollar will have the same purchasing power more or less than it does today. On a philosophical level, sure, there are plenty of arguments for a decentralized currency, but in terms of what's in it for me at the moment, crypto is about as useful as lugging around a second umbrella. That is not the case in much of Latin America. Consider the case of Eugenia Alcacia, a psychologist. She is a Venezuelan who lives in Caracas. A few months ago, her husband needed an MRI. The hospital scheduled the MRI for a Friday and said it would cost 350 bolivars. A scheduling mishap bumped the MRI to Monday, and by then, the cost had doubled.
So from Friday to Monday, it went from 350 to 700
bolivars. And that doesn't mean that the cost of doing an MRI went up. That meant that the money is worth that much less.
Yes.
Quote, I had a friend, a psychologist, who died of pulmonary infection because there were no antibiotics, unquote, said Alcala. Not because he couldn't afford it, because there was no medicine available in the city, unquote.
Right. And we've talked about some of the shortages.
Yep.
Because the suppliers, they want paid in dollars.
Yeah.
And, well, nobody has the dollars to pay the suppliers. And what happens when you can't pay your suppliers? They don't send you stuff. When they don't send you stuff, you can't put things on store shelves for customers to buy, which means you don't have customers.
Right. The story is going to continue. This is just a typical day in the life of Caracas, says Alcala. Credit card company limits are unable to keep pace with hyperinflation. And that's where we're going to stop.
Yeah, they talk about the credit card problems.
Yep.
Plus, your calls and thoughts are welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
You want to know the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis? Then I've got some good news for you. Former CIA officer and New York Times best-selling author Jason Hansen is now giving listeners a free copy of his book, The Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 Items You Must Have to Survive a Crisis. You can claim your copy at freeescapebook.com. Don't delay. Jason reveals the guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters that could save your life in an economic collapse or grid-down event. Get your free book today, freeescapebook.com. freeescapebook.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash is building a foundation that can support daily transactions for people everywhere. One feature that sets Smart Cash apart is the Smart Hive governance model and how the community can vote to fund the best projects with block rewards stored in the Smart Hive project treasury. Unlike other cryptocurrencies with voting systems, Smart Cash allows everyone to participate. One smart equals one vote. Learn more at smartcash.cc.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees!
What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And for years, libertarians of all stripes have wanted a directory of liberty-minded businesses. We're helping to build one, and it's liberty.menu. Liberty.menu is a tool for our community. At its core is a directory for events, businesses, digital content, and more. Listings can be rated and reviewed, kind of like on Yelp, but there's also a bit of a social networking aspect that allows you to connect and share with other users. Use of Liberty.menu is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. Put your voluntarist ideas into action at Liberty.menu and use code FTL to get a special Free Talk Live listener badge. We can't give you a discount because it's free to use, so 10% off of zero is still zero. But we can give you the Free Talk Live listener badge when you input code FTL over at liberty.menu.
Yeah, we've been talking about hyperinflation in Venezuela, which we are off to do.
Yes.
But this is how it sort of ties into cryptocurrency. And the story starts off just talking with a psychologist named Eugenia Alcala, and she's a Venezuelan who lives in Caracas. And she had talked about her husband's MRI that was going to cost 350 bolivars on Friday, but a scheduling mishap bumped it to Monday, at which case it doubled. She also talks about a friend, a psychologist, who died of a pulmonary infection because there were no antibiotics, not because he couldn't afford it. There was no medicine available in the city. There physically
were no antibiotics in the city.
Right. This is just a typical day in the life of Caracas, says Alcala. Credit card limits are unable to keep pace with hyperinflation. Imagine that your MasterCard has a limit of $5,000, but a loaf of bread costs $1,000 today and $2,000 the next week. Alcala knows a married couple, an engineer and a doctor, who skip dinners so their children can eat. Cash is scarce, so it's hard to buy things like bus tickets. Quote, construction workers camp on the street near the construction sites because they can't get a ticket home, unquote, says Alcala. It's surreal. These problems cascade into others. I had a friend, and this is where she talks about the psychologist who had died of lack of antibiotics. Her voice cracking with emotion, Alcala unspools story after story. The friend who needs 3 credit cards to restock a first aid kit. A child who needed heart surgery but whose parents couldn't find a single hospital to perform the operation. All of the necessary equipment had been stolen. The guy who brought his family and friends to the store so he could buy a refrigerator, pooling together all of their credit cards. Quote, I have 5 banks, unquote, she says, and I have a debit and credit card for each of those banks. Thanks to those 10 cards, she's able to do her weekly grocery shopping. Alcala eventually found a solution, or at least a partial solution, crypto. Let me back up. I learned about Alcala when I was traveling to Medellin, Colombia, Venezuela's western neighbor that, for now, is spared the carnage of hyperinflation. Much of Medellin is safe and gorgeous and packed with culture, yet thanks to the lingering stigma of its well-documented cocaine wars, you can live a high quality of life on something of a bargain. The city is quietly transformed into a haven for remote workers. As for crypto, when I visited a new country, one of the first things I do is troll meetup.com for upcoming blockchain events.
You actually, you were talking just a little bit ago off air about an event where somebody found you on Meetup.
Yeah, at the Bitcoin Embassy, New Hampshire, we offer free classes for the public or for businesses, individuals or businesses, on Bitcoin and blockchain and how to understand these things. And the writer goes on to write, reason number 347, I'm still single.
Talking about trolling Meetup for blockchain events.
Yeah. In Medellin, I see something odd. The next 24 meetups are all cluttered with invitations for Dash. They're offering lunches and freebies. If you install a Dash wallet, you get a free slice of pizza. This is weird. I've been to 20 countries in the past year, and I've never seen that kind of hyper-aggressive promotion. The promotion looks like a throwback, almost schlocky, to the cheapo coupons you would see in the Yellow Pages back when the world had Yellow Pages. What? Why a Dashathon? Why Colombia? I do a little digging, attend a Medellin blockchain conference, and soon meet George Donnelly, who heads up Dash Colombia. We meet at a co-working space called Selena that has a tattoo shop, DJ booth, meditation room, tastefully grafted walls, and a massive outdoor restaurant with a retractable roof. The place is colorful, bold, loud, and funky. I like it. Quote, Latin America is unique, unquote, says Donnelly, who's originally from Philadelphia and moved here in 2001. He said that parts of Latin America have a rare combination of 3 things: strong electrical and internet infrastructure, weak governments, and a large pool of people. Quote, that's why Dash is building here. This is the place where it's going to happen, unquote. Donnelly cites the work of Peruvian economist Hernando de Soto Polar, who argues that there are billions of people stuck in an, quote, informal economy, unquote, that lacks the bank's credit and financial goodies that the rest of us take for granted.
I think most people refer to them as the unbanked.
Yeah.
And I have heard over the last several years people talking about how cryptocurrency is supposed to be helping the unbanked, but yet you don't really hear a lot of solutions for here's how you actually get the unbanked to be able to buy or use cryptocurrency.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting, and that's worth taking a look at. There are a lot of solutions that people are doing to try to expand the use of cryptocurrency to people with very little means.
Right.
You know, and one of the more creative solutions, I think, is Cointext. This is run by our friend Vin Armani, and the idea there is to capitalize on the fact that over 1 billion people don't have access to any banks, number one,
right,
and they live in areas that do not have strong data communications via cell phone.
Right.
So while if you were to go to sub-Saharan Africa, you may not get a 5 bars of 4G signal, but you'll see everybody around you, no matter how poor, probably has a flip phone.
Right.
And they can send text messages. The idea there is that they can do banking and they can send value from one person to another without the need of all the gadgets that we have here. That, to me, is a potential solution for that. Let's see. Cites the work of economist Hernando de Soto, who argues that there are billions of people stuck in a, quote, informal economy that lacks the bank's credit and other financial goodies that the rest of us take for granted. De Soto wrote that there are, quote, 2 parallel economies, legal and extra-legal. An elite minority enjoy the economic benefits of the law and globalization, while the majority of entrepreneurs are stuck in poverty, where their assets languish as dead capital in the shadow of the law, unquote. So we'll talk about how Colombia fits into that profile and why it's attracting so much attention by crypto.
And how does this relate to Venezuela?
Right.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
A doctor's office visit for erectile dysfunction on my smartphone? That's crazy.
No, that's the bestedpill.com. ED can affect 40% of men by age 40. Now there's a 95% less expensive option than Viagra. After a live confidential video consult with a fully licensed doctor, we ship medicines fast, free, and direct in discreet packaging. Read thousands of 5-star reviews. Click thebestedpill.com. That's THE bestedpill.com, the online doctor's office.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Before we get back to the article here about hyperinflation in Venezuela and how crypto is helping Latin America, and your phone calls at 855-450-FREE, I want to give a shout out to, and I never thought that I would get to say this as a name of someone who is an amplifier of the show, NSA Surveillance Van. We thank you.
Nice. I'm waving at him out the studio window. I see him parked across the street with a bunch of antennas pointed at us.
For being a silver amplifier, which means that NSA Surveillance Van is contributing at least $5 per month to the AMP program and getting perks like ad-free podcast, getting access to the AMP-only Discord channel, the AMP-only Facebook group. What are some of the other perks? I know that there are some that I just can't think of off the top of my head. Getting a free shout out and getting to hear Darryl say NSA Surveillance Van.
Right.
You can learn more about the AMP program or join by heading over to amp.freetalklive.com. Before we jump back into the article, let's go to Sarah calling in from New Mexico. Let's see if Sarah can actually hear us this time. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, good.
Excellent. You're on the radio. Go ahead.
Yeah, the first time I had problems, but I think I know there's a powder made from fine ripened fruit and vegetables that can help with rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay, I got a friend who has that. Tell me what it is.
Oh, you know what? No, Ian's going to get really flipped out mad at me. You know, I mentioned the name of the casino where George Norrie came to town. He flipped out, and he got so mad. I'm not giving out free advertisement.
Well, no. If it's a natural substance that occurs in vine-ripened fruits and vegetables, or fruits or vegetables, there's nothing proprietary about that. That's just offering something. So what's the name of it without having to list a brand name?
Well, I mean, but the thing is, it's a combination of all the fruit and vegetables, and a doctor markets it, and it used to be on Free Talk Live advertisement, actually, on the commercials.
Oh, interesting.
It was probably not something that was actually advertising directly on Free Talk Live.
Right.
So let me explain how commercials work on syndicated radio shows. So there are some commercials that are ads that we place in the broadcast.
Yep.
There are other commercials that are placed there by the syndicate. In our case, it's the Genesis Communications Network out of like the Twin Cities area.
Yeah, could we say the syndicator instead of the syndicate, because that really sounds like the mafia runs this.
The syndication company.
Syndication company.
The company that does syndication.
That's better than the syndicate.
Genesis Communications.
Yeah.
And then there are ads that are aired by the local radio station. So there are three types of ads in nationally syndicated talk radio. So just because you heard an ad during our show doesn't mean that it was a company advertising with us. Sarah, thank you for the call. Let's go to David calling in from New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, I'd thought you might like to know how I'm redistributing some of your wealth.
David, back off of your phone just a hair. It sounds like you're swallowing the headset.
Kind of overmodulated. Go ahead.
All right, any better?
Much.
Yes, go ahead.
All right, yeah, I just thought you'd like to know how I'm redistributing some of Darryl and Chris's wealth this year.
That's always fun.
Yeah, so if you guys pay any federal tax at all, New Mexico... here I've been gathering some numbers. Some of them are kind of entertaining. Like, for instance, our overall state budget is like $6 billion a year, and the school budget gets $3.29 billion of that. And of that $3.29 billion to fund the schools, of which only 7 in 10 graduate, and New Mexico is year after year ranked number 49 or 50 for the effectiveness of the school, the quality of the education.
David, can I interrupt you right there?
Yeah.
What that means, if you're scoring that low in national testing, then you need to throw more money at the problem. You need to increase that, maybe to 120 or 130% of your budget. That might make sense.
Okay. First of all, Chris, I need you to confirm that you and I did not coordinate this phone call ahead of time to script it so that you would play right into my hands.
Okay.
We didn't, did we?
No, we did not.
Okay. So funny you should mention that, because the new governor, Michelle Lujan Grisham, just gave her State of the State address after getting elected this year, and she is going to increase funding to the schools by $500 million. It's a 13% increase or something like that.
It's a start.
So there you go. That she's going to throw more money in it, and let's wait a year or two and see what the effect was. Now, the half of the budget for the schools comes from the taxes on energy that comes out of New Mexico. New Mexico was the fifth producer in the 50 states, and then it was up to 3, and now it's above 3. It's either second or number 1, and it's on its way to becoming number 1. And we tax all energy that comes out of the ground here. We tax it at a rate of from 8% to 20% is the statistic I heard the other day, and that comes out to typically like $2.6 billion a year, and half of that money goes to the school budget. And I also just heard today that with this government shutdown, that if the SNAP benefits, the food benefits, stop coming from the federal government, that means that that's $50 million per month that the rest of you fine citizens that pay federal taxes around the 50 states contribute to the state of New Mexico, because New Mexico is basically the lowest producer in the nation, which means of that $50 million they receive every month, they probably don't contribute hardly any of it, maybe 1/50th at most, and I'm sure it's less than that. So that's another interesting statistic. Also, we do happen to have, from all this energy, we do have $20 billion in the bank here in New Mexico for whatever we would choose to spend it on.
How much debt does New Mexico have?
New Mexico, they don't carry any year-to-year debt. They may have a budget surplus like they do this year because of energy production, and other years they may have an annual deficit, but they simply, they have in their constitution, we're not allowed to run a deficit year in and year out. If they come up short, they got to repay it basically immediately.
Well, there are other states like Texas requires a balanced budget, but yet they have a giant debt. And I actually pulled up the U.S. debt clock, and David, thank you for the call, pulled up the U.S. debt clock that shows for the state of New Mexico, they have a debt of $15,102,315,607, and it keeps going up by about $1 a second.
Yeah, that's just staggering. And this reminds me, this is a story that I really should have brought in, and it would have been fun to discuss, and it sort of parlays into this. But it was a FEE article, Foundation for Economic Education. And we're big fans of those guys. And they did an article in November that somehow I missed the first time around, but it was titled "Why Teen Suicide is Lower in States That Have More School Choice."
Yeah, I seem to recall that we discussed that.
Yeah, but I found it really compelling. And, and for all the talk we have of how much our educational system costs, and test scores nationwide are flat or falling. No, I don't know of any state where test scores across the state are improving, given this Prussian system that we're under. I think we'd need to try some new things.
Yeah. And school choice would definitely be something that would be good.
Yeah.
I don't think vouchers are the way to go with that.
I don't either. I think giving parents choices is the right way to
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, Pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. In an historic event, former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. To secure your spot, text JOIN to 76280. This event is the first of its kind ever. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls in the weeks and months ahead. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars. To join American Cannabis Summit, text JOIN to 76280. Attendance is free. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Possibly time for you and your thoughts if you call in now. Again, to 855-450-FREE. Plus, we've got the Discord on-air call-in lines available over at discord.lrn.fm. We'll get back into the article here from Breaker Mag, which is not a source that I'm familiar with. But the guy is relaying information of encounters he's had with people from Venezuela and from nearby, was it Colombia?
Yes.
Specifically in regards to cryptocurrency and how it might actually wind up being able to help people in areas that are, sort of hard hit by economic factors. But before we get back into the story, I want to make sure that I tell you about the Ronald McDonald House Charities, currently doing a fundraiser for them. And on October 13th, I'll be representing Ronald McDonald House Charities at the 2019 Chicago Marathon. As a member of Team RMHC, I'll be training, fundraising, and ultimately running 26.2 miles to help keep families together during a stressful time. More than 40% of families served at a Ronald McDonald House have children in the neonatal intensive care unit, or NICU, and the more than 360 Ronald McDonald Houses worldwide help families stay close to their sick children when they need to heal. Just $25 can provide dinner for a family, and $80 can give a family a room for a night. Help me raise $2,000 for the Ronald McDonald House Charities to not only help me achieve my goal, but also help children stay close to their families when they need it most, because I've been there myself. You can donate over at rmhc.fppradio.com. That's rmhc.fppradio.com.
And we've been discussing this article about Venezuela and South America and cryptocurrency. And George Donnelly, who is originally from Philadelphia, but he's working with Dash down there trying to promote it. He cites the work of Peruvian economist Hernando de Soto Polar, who a lot of people in crypto, believe it or not, are familiar with, because he has some initiatives that I think are really important. The idea that, here's one for you. Let's say you own a home.
All right.
You own a home, Darryl, and you own that home because you have what? A deed?
Yep.
You have a deed, therefore you own it and you can prove it.
Or an alloidal title, which is some mythical thing that some people say exists.
Right. But if you have a deed to a home, you can go to court and you can prove ownership of that. Or you could take that deed to a bank and say, I want to use my home as collateral for this small business loan to get started,
yes,
for example. How about those billions of people, and I'm talking billions of people in the world, that live in countries that don't have a formal system of deeds? They cannot prove that the land that they and their forebears have been farming for, say, 5 generations actually belongs to them. Therefore, they cannot prove that it is theirs. They cannot use that land as collateral. So when De Soto talks about billions of dollars locked up in an informal economy where no benefits can be gained, this is what he's talking about. And his sort of pet project is to basically blockchain, create an immutable record of ownership for these types of people. He said, somebody else says, fintech is a huge problem here, says Jose Gavira, a local blockchain consultant, in a lunch break at the conference. Gavira ticks off the problems in Colombia. Quote, people don't have access to banks. These people don't have credit identities. Blockchain can help solve this. In something of a paradox, Colombia's lack of infrastructure could make it easier to implement blockchain solutions. This is always known as the, quote, leapfrogging concept, unquote, the idea that developing countries without the scaffolding of legacy banks can harvest blockchain to do things better. At the lunch, someone from the Blockchain Center gives me an analogy. Quote, what would be harder, going to the U.S. and changing your entire highway system or paving new roads in an empty country?
Well, obviously, completely changing the highway system, which is why even though the move began back in the 70s to switch over to metric,
right,
we're still one of 3 countries that are using the imperial system, which oddly enough, it's named the imperial system of using miles.
This story, and we're not going to read, we don't have time to go through this whole story.
I will post the link.
He's going to post the link.
Medias.
But a couple things it talks about, there's a propensity for South American people, it seems, to be very tempted by scams, and cryptocurrency has certainly had its scams. And, the idea that because these countries are rich in electric power, they may be great places where Bitcoin mining and cryptocurrency mining may occur. And believe it or not, and this comes as a surprise, what we all hear about are the crazy swings in the Bitcoin price. Last year it was $20,000 at Christmas. Insane. And by, now it's 3,600, somewhere around there.
Yeah, about 36.
Yeah. So that's a pretty big swing. If you look at it long term, not so much. 2 years ago, Eugenia Alcala, who we were speaking of originally, she is a psychologist from Venezuela, had a health problem that forced her to miss work, and when she was ready to return, she didn't want to earn the income only in bolivars. The hyperinflation was crippling. At first, she tried to earn income in U.S. dollars, but says the Venezuelan government made this tricky. She was not allowed to have a bank account outside her own country. She had no non-Venezuelan credit cards and no way to get her PayPal account verified. So she began exploring crypto. Bitcoin was obviously a possibility. She was drawn to the government's model of Dash, where 10% of the mining incentives go to the treasury, which theoretically could be spent to build an ecosystem in Venezuela. She submitted a proposal to the Dash Treasury, and within a month, they greenlit a project. Other Venezuelans have done the same thing. Alejandro Ecovera and Lorenzo Rey are leading separate evangelist teams within the Dash community, and there's now 2,427 Dash accepting merchants in Venezuela, nearly 10 times as many as there are in the United States.
And I know that there have been people that have called into question that number.
Yes.
Or it could be that there have been 2,427 merchants in Venezuela that accepted Dash one time.
Right.
Doesn't mean that people are using them regularly. Whereas here in Little Keene, New Hampshire, with 23,000 people when the college students are in town,
right,
we have, somewhere close to a dozen places that accept cryptocurrency?
I know the count has been over 20 at various times.
Okay.
But, it varies.
I'm just trying to think brick and mortar because there are countless, not really countless, but, there are a bunch of online merchants.
Sure.
But there are also a lot of brick and mortar places where I can go and pick stuff up inside a store.
I think if you and I sat down, we could easily name 20 places like that inside Keene.
Yeah. I could also go to coinmap.org
and see what they say.
And take a look myself.
Yeah, but the idea is that as you get more penetration.
The difference is, here in Keene, I know I can actually go, and people do on an almost daily basis, go to places and use crypto.
I went to the dentist yesterday, Darryl. That's never a happy experience for me.
Yeah.
But I paid for it in crypto. I went to a dentist, and I know that they take crypto, so I paid him in a little bit of Bitcoin and a little bit of Bitcoin Cash, and I paid him with a little bit of Dash, just because I didn't happen to have all the money I needed all in one currency at the time. But he's like, no problem. Yeah, we accept all those. So that's kind of cool. It's a necessary step if this is going to get adopted. And the moral of the story is that when you can no longer trust government money, then you have to have an alternative.
Right.
And the people of Venezuela are finding that out. And the solution is not going to be Maduro's crypto petro.
Right. That's probably never actually going to roll out.
Right.
And where he's claiming that, you have to have the petro to be able to get a passport, but nobody can actually get their hands on the petro, which essentially says nobody in Venezuela can get a passport.
Right. That's pretty much it.
We're out of time for tonight, but we'll be back tomorrow because, it's a day, and we're live every day of the year, and we are always available online at freetalklive.com.
If you're looking for work, it's a process of elimination, and you're trying not to be eliminated. So here's a tip for making the cut, and this might seem subtle, but to the person interviewing you, it's not. There is a world of difference between applicants who convey, "I need a job," and those who simply ooze, I want to work, especially